And welcome into Buffs Primetime as we come to you from the Post Chicken and Beer in downtown Boulder. Boy, the energy in the room. How about this? Good to have you all here today as we talk a little Colorado football. We've got interim head coach Mike Sanford's going to join us. Since the last time we were on the program, of course, there's been a bye week. There's been changes in the program. We all know about that. The defensive line coach, the defensive coordinator Gerald Chapman is going to be with us for the assistant segment, and then one of his players, Chance Main, will be with us. So let's bring in the interim head coach of the Buffaloes, Mike Sanford. It's well, that was a lot of applause for you. I mean, so far so good. What's going to happen if you win on Saturday? Think about that for a second.
Hey, we need to start shifting the mindset to when we win on Saturday.
There you go.
So that's I just have been just felt the support this week from so many different people. I mean, we had our entire athletic department was out there supporting our players yesterday at practice, and we're just really excited to know that people are in this tough time with us, and we're looking to make great times out of a tough time, and that's really our mentality right now as a football program.
Well, what do you think? Do you get a look into these people? Can he even play or not? No?
I know Leon Jackson can.
Okay, he can. Yeah. Leon
I saw
would be one.
I saw that with my own eyes. So
yeah, Leon would be one. Not many others, I don't think, here in this group that could actually play. But it's been kind of a crazy couple of weeks for you, hasn't it? Really?
It has. It's been an emotional couple of weeks. Basically go from knowing somebody that you care about a lot, and Coach Gerald, having the situation go the way it did, to being put into another position that. I knew that to serve these players the best, I had no time to hang my head, no time to really be emotional.
Right.
And I had to make it about them and shift my focus towards them. Number one, loving them up, and then number two, putting them in a position to go win a football game on Saturday. Yeah. The timing couldn't really have been at a better time with regards to the bye week. I think we were able to scrap some things from a practice standpoint, rebuild how we practice to give us what I believe is the best chance to go win a football game.
Yeah. When you do something like that, Mike, I'm wondering, there is a sense when we're around it. We've all been around these situations before. You come from a coaching family. You know how it works, right? The pressure kind of builds, and then change happens, and there's almost like somebody lets the air out of the balloon a little bit. From a roster and player standpoint, is it important, number one, to attend to them like you did, but then number two, to kind of give them a fresh start, if you will?
It is. How we practice is one piece, and then also just putting players in different spots. We're gonna move around some players in the game. There's going to be positions that I saw from my perspective. A lot of the play calling that you do is in the off season and scrimmages in the fall, scrimmages in in spring ball. And I saw some things from a defensive perspective, and frankly, even as an offensive perspective, that I want to put guys in different positions that I think fit their skill sets. And I think that in and of itself gives players a renewed sense of, hey, coach has been watching me, and he sees that this is a position that I can thrive in. And I do think that, particularly on the defense side of the ball, we have a lot of experience, we have a lot of ability, and it really was just about rebuilding that belief and that trust. And I think we've seen that over the course of the last 2 weeks. And, I think the most important thing is that we see that today, on Saturday when we get ready to play.
One thing about being a head coach, when you're an assistant, when you're a coordinator, you're coaching ball, right? You get your hands in the kids, you're doing the X's and O's. When you become the coach, you become the CEO. I mean, you're doing silly stuff like this with those of us in the media, right? You're doing that. You're talking to boosters and donors, and you're talking to, parents and all the things that go along, with the program and leading a program. It really changes your perspective on things, I would think.
No, it does, and it happened fast. I think when you have an off season to prepare for that, you have your schedule in order. The good thing for me is that I have a lot of experience in working for different head coaches, seeing how they operated. Some made it much more about the external. Some made it, solely about the internal. I think you can walk a fine line there.
Sure.
And I think there is a healthy balance. And even in my years of being a head coach, I felt like I kind of found that sweet spot, and really wanting to do what I'm doing now and start out by making it about the players. Yeah. I mean, that's the most important thing that we have is the asset and the resource of our team in our locker room. We've got to make it about them first and foremost. And then there's so many different people that support them, and I want to point those people out to our players so they understand that it isn't just about us. It's about a whole family, of Buffs that are coming together to get this thing turned around. So, I think it's just finding that fine line, and we've been really, I think we've done a good job over the last 10 days.
Who has had the greatest influence upon your coaching life?
My father.
Right, I figured he would.
That's a big one, and I got into coaching because of the model that he was.
Right.
And what I saw in him is exactly what I'm doing now. Is it's not about me. It's not about fame. It's not about what people say about me on social media. It's about loving these players, seeing them grow, and then putting them in a position where they see that growth, both as a man, but also tangibly on the field. I thought he did that, with just such grace for so many years and continuing to do it. He can't get out of this game. He's 67 and coaching high school football out in Vegas. So
they keep sucking him back in like the Godfather, right?
And then another one that I saw just an immediate change, that I worked for was Jim Harbaugh at Stanford. And I think the thing that he gravitated towards is that, he himself in the program, he used the line that we're going to have an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. And I saw that instantly change a program that went from being 1-11 under Walt Harris the year before to walking into the Coliseum as 41.5-point underdogs and beating Pete Carroll and the mighty Trojans, who were ranked number 1 in the country. So enthusiasm is real. I think a lot of people think it's a rah-rah deal. It's not. Football's about it's about want to. It's about will. It's about belief, and that's what these last 14 days really have been about.
And what you touched on there is kind of interesting to me because this isn't the NFL where you're dealing with professionals and it's a very much a business set of circumstances. Sometimes we forget, don't we? We're still dealing with, even though they're big and athletic, they're still 18, 19-year-old young men, right? So that enthusiasm can really infect them.
It is, and they give their time. I mean, certainly they're here to earn a degree first and foremost, but they're also, they're asked to do a lot from a time standpoint. Let's make that time, both efficient. Let's respect their time, but when they're there, I want it to be the best part of their day. I think I heard Robert Barnes yesterday speak to the Buffalo Bills. I saw the quote, and he just said that, forget everything that you have back at at home, all the challenges that you have, maybe even struggling in a class. Right. But when we step into that football facility, that's got to be our time to enjoy what we do. And the more you enjoy something that you have passion about, the better you get at it, and the more tangible evidence you see on game day. And that's what this thing's about. Is that I want every time they step into that building that it's something that they look forward to doing. And so we've really worked to change that paradigm over the course of the last couple weeks.
I loved your message, if you will, at the press conference, talking about loving those players and really attending to them. I wonder, when you met with each one of those guys, now, you come out of a college football program, you got dreams, you're just assuming you're going to win all the time. These guys want to win. Make no mistake about that. What did you find? What was the consistent message from those guys when you sat down and talked with all of them?
Well, I asked them what I can do for them, and I think to a man they said, just bring the juice. Yeah. Nice, they want, and that's an awesome deal because that's kind of who I am, right? That's who my family's always. My wife's telling me to calm down when we're taking a road trip. I'm bringing the juice driving. Sometimes to the tune of going about 15 or 25 miles an hour over the speed limit. So we're working on that. But they wanted me to bring the juice. They wanted me to bring the energy, the enthusiasm, and they also wanted accountability. Right. And that's one thing that we've put measures in place, starting with the locker room, the actual locker room. Like every night I do a sweep through to make sure that they're coming in every morning ready to work. And it is a place that is it's palatial as it should be. Right. And they're more ready to work. They're more focused because their space is a clean space. There's accountability for turnovers and takeaways, every single day in practice. Mm-hmm. So I've found the pieces. I can't change everything, but I can change something. Right. And that's really what this has been about, is finding those things that are important to winning football games and then holding the players accountable because they want accountability.
What's that going to look like on Saturday? So now you're the guy, and you've been the guy on the sideline, but now you're the guy on the sideline. You're not the guy in the booth calling the plays, right? You got Clay doing that. What is your activity and your involvement going to look like on game day now as you're the head guy?
First off, I'm still going to be very much involved with the offense, the communication of the offense, the situational management of four-down territory. I'm going to be an asset for Coach Patterson. I've already told him, I'm a stickler for grammar. So even in play calling, if I hear one little thing off, I'm going to make sure I'm going to spit it out really quickly. Right. And I told him I'm going to be your buffer, for you, on the headsets. That's going to be a big part of it. There's going to be certain tempos that I want to get to, and I'm going to get to them right then and there. But I also want him to get into a flow as a play caller. And then defensively, I think that's the big thing is that I'm going to celebrate every success with those players. I think we're in a place where the week of practice that we've had, our offense notices a difference in how they're going about, swarming to the football. So I want to provide that energy. And then I also want to help with managing the overall, feel of the team. I'm going to coach the team. Sure. Not just coach the offense, not just coach Owen McCown, but I want to coach the team. And part of that is how we respond. There's going to be adversity. That's an inevitability of football. It's not going to be snap your fingers and all of a sudden, everything is going to be perfect. So we've talked a lot about how we respond to adversity. We look at adversity as an opportunity rather than looking at it as a taking the wind out of our sails. So I need to continue to. We've had a lot of messaging throughout the course of the last week or so, and I'm going to continue with those messages.
The Buffaloes and the Cal Golden Bears, that's a noon game. It's family weekend. We're expecting very close to a sellout on Saturday. Gary and I are going to hit the air at 10 o'clock in the morning out of Franklin Field with the Buffalo Stampede pregame show. Our program tonight is brought to us by the Hiltons on Canyon. You're coming to Boulder for game day? Stay at the Hiltons on Canyon, the official hotel of Colorado Athletics. We'll start talking about the Cal Golden Bears. We're at the Post Chicken and Beer down in downtown Boulder with Mike Sanford back with more of the head coach after this. This is Colorado football from their field. Buffs Primetime is brought to you by the Post Chicken and Beer with 7 Colorado Front Range locations. The Post brews delicious, award-winning beers and fries of the crispiest, juiciest hot chicken around. Fried chicken and beer go together like a black and gold football talk. Stop by the Post for all your game time provisions. And for next week's show, we're going to be back out here next week on Thursday from 12:30 to 1:30. We go live to tape, so come on out and join us for that. The show airs then on the network from 7 until 8 on our flagship, 850 KON Denver from 8 until 9. I think I got that all straight. It's the Cal Golden Bears coming up this weekend. Gerald Chapman still to come. Just saw Gerald walk in. We've also got Chance Main. He's going to join us for a players segment. We continue with head coach Mike Sanford. All right, we can start talking about the Cal Golden Bears. Pretty solid football team. When you look at them on paper, they look pretty good. Tell me what you see with Cal.
Yeah, good football team. Obviously coming here, they've played a challenging schedule as well.
Yeah.
Obviously going to South Bend, never an easy place to play. I think the game that really stands out to me is that Arizona game. They played just incredible football. This running back has unbelievable speed. Jay Knott, number 6. He's a guy, if you give him a crease, he's going to take it 60 to 70, and that's got to be, what we've done defensively is change up the picture, make sure that, they're going in not knowing what to expect from a front perspective and from a pressure perspective or lack thereof, or maybe some more. We'll see. But, if we can stop the run, that's always, as we know, the most important thing that we can do. Coach Chapman and the defensive staff has just done great work in shoring up run fits in short order. Stopping the run is going to be critical. And then this is a quarterback. If you give him time, he's going to pick you apart. I coached against him when he was at Purdue. He's a starting quarterback in 2020. We played him in a COVID game that was just a wild football game. I think the score was like 37-34 or something along those lines. And he had 378 yards passing. If you don't get pressure on him, he's gonna have his way. So combination stopping the run. We got to win this game up front. Combination of our linebackers and defensive line. So I'm excited for the challenge.
Mike, we're talking about all the things you're doing to infuse energy and kind of bring new life to this thing. I'm wondering, and I asked this without, obviously you're not going to give it too much information. How much can you actually change in a week and a half or 2 weeks?
You can change a lot.
Can you change a lot? Okay, all right. He says that with a smile on his face, by the way. So you can get actually alter the, let's say, the personality of a team, if you will.
Yeah, I think also schematically. I mean, there's things that have, just combination of the play callers that, I wanted the offense and defensive units to take on the personalities of the play callers.
Right.
And I wanted to be a support on both sides for that, to, like I said, to make sure we put the personnel of our players in the right positions, but also, the coaching staff, little tweaks here and there that we've made to really help support both Gerald and Coach Patterson. Yeah. So, I would say there's been a good amount of change.
Okay, good.
Change is not easy,
right.
But change can be really good.
Yeah.
And that's what, our players have bought into the changes. And ultimately, we want Saturday to be, reflective of the changes that, on the field and the positivity of the changes, not just the energy, not just the joy that we have on taking the practice field and the game field, but also that we have answers for their answers, and that we're one step ahead. And I just think the brain power that we have on the defense side of the ball, it's just been incredible to watch. And then the players, just their buy-in and receptiveness to what we're doing.
Being a guy that's been a coordinator, is there a rhythm to play calling?
There definitely is.
Because you're not reacting, right? You can't react. If you're reacting, you're half step behind, correct?
Yeah, it's I think you have to have, for me, I've always used the in-between series to get ahead for the next series. Okay. Obviously everybody goes in offensively with some form of a scripted series. Yeah. Some people have, 10, an opening 10. When I worked with Jim Harbaugh, he had an opening 32.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think he realized that
that's half the game.
Yeah, it's about half the game with the way he is on the sidelines and his overall I don't think he knew he was going to have enough time in between series to get things right. But I think for both Gerald and Clay, I told them, listen, Saturday is not going to be a referendum on your career as a coordinator.
Sure.
But I want you to have fun. I want you to be yourself. I want you to do what you've been called to do, which is to serve these players and put them in positions to be successful. There is a rhythm to it. I created those scenarios both in the bye week and even here in the game week. We actually went out. Smitty and the equipment staff bought us some small practice headphones. We've been operating on headphones and calling plays and just giving them reps. I mean, it's just like players. You have to simulate the game day environment. We've done that on both sides.
Go back to Jack Plummer for a moment. You talked about facing him when he was with the Boilermakers at Purdue. Big guy, 6'5", 6'6", somewhere in that range. Is he a mobile guy? Does he run around a little bit or not?
He's got some mobility that he can certainly take off and run. It's interesting. He got hit in that Washington State game. I mean, over and over. I mean, they got after him. And if you look towards the end of that game, he was hobbling around a little bit. Certainly is cleared to play from every indication that we've gotten. So it'll be interesting to see what his mobility is affected by that. Without question, he gives them the best chance to be successful on offense. But like I said, I mean, it's going to be critical for us to, number one, stop the run, but also not give him comfortable pockets to throw from. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of answers that we have for that.
How about Cal defensively? Now they forced a lot of turnovers. I think they forced 9 turnovers. They're +7 overall as a team this season. What do you see on the defensive side?
Just sound football. I have a lot of respect for Justin Wilcox. He's a guy that I've worked with, as a player, and him being a GA. We've actually sat together on, clinics and on flights. We talked to offense and defensive football. He and Sermon, the defensive coordinator, just do a really good job with just a really good base structure. They'll mix up little tweaks here and there. I had some experience going against him at Sanford when he was at University of Washington, where he basically did what we talked about earlier. He changed the entire structure of the defense in 1 week.
Wow.
And it was a challenge for us, to be honest, and it took a while for us to get our adjustments in place. So, they're going to do what they do, but you always have to be ready for his wrinkles and Sermon's wrinkles. They're very smart football coaches.
I want to ask you about Owen McCown a little bit. You've had a chance to work with him now as a starter for a couple of games in a row. He was a guy that when camp started and everyone's focused on Brendan and JT at that point in time, he caught your eye. I mean, he's got a little something to him. Tell me, as a guy that works with him on a daily basis, what you see in Owen McCown.
Yeah, I just see toughness. I've a couple of requirements for the quarterback position, and the number one requirement for that position isn't arm strength. It isn't field vision or accuracy. Number one is toughness. Mm-hmm. He embodies that in every capacity, both physical toughness, mental toughness. That's always something that I'm looking for, and the way that he stepped in there, particularly against Minnesota, and then going into UCLA. UCLA's turned into one of the top teams in the country. Yeah. That was his first start. As a true freshman that just got here in June, he didn't bat an eye. So that toughness is something that I believe is given our offense a spark in these last couple weeks, and I believe that he just continues to get better and better each and every day.
The thing about him that I think is so impressive, number one, I mean, mechanically looks right. You can understand that coming from where he comes from and kind of the family influence, but to throw a kid into that set of circumstances as a true freshman can overwhelm somebody. Yep. And he looked like he belonged. He passed the eye test out there, didn't he?
He did. He sees the field incredibly well. He's got an athleticism and a kind of a slipperiness to him that, I think is very underrated. And even just that touchdown kind of going into the Colorado end zone at the UCLA game just kind of showed his savvy. That was a designed RPO, and he just took off and ran with it. Okay. So just his gamesmanship, his feel is something that I think that not only is really propelled their offense forward, but frankly it's actually made the quarterback room better. Really? I've seen even better football this past week out of JT Shrout and Brendan Lewis. They've responded incredibly well to the adversity that they've personally faced, but I think that the entire room has elevated their game.
With his father and his uncle, and coming from that background, does he speak the game at a more mature level than you might expect for a young kid?
No, he does, really? And his ability to retain information early on. I mean, starting a quarterback that didn't go through spring ball as a freshman is just completely rare space. I mean, I've never been a part of that. But his retention and the work that he did in preparing We sent all the installs to him, when he was, or before he reported, he had it all down, and of
Really?
course having his father go through the installs, I think that was just a great kind of end of their high school time together,
Yep.
of his dad coaching him in high school. So he came in with a really good foundation and baseline, and then I think he's really taken it and really upped his game. So our offense is starting to transform a little bit more in the skill sets that he has, and I think a lot of the background that Clay Patterson has, I think fits really well with Owen's background and kind of where he comes from systematically.
Coach Chapman's going to join us here in just a minute. Tell me about him. I don't think we've had him on the show yet. And so it'll be kind of the first chance in this setting anyway to introduce him to people. What is it about him that you enjoy?
Well, he's first of all, the players just respect him. The coaching staff respects him. He brings just infectious energy. Even when times were tough for us as a football program, the energy he brought to the building every day was infectious. As he's also been groomed by some tremendous football coaches. One that I personally have a relationship with, as Chad Wilt, who's now the defensive coordinator at Indiana. Chad had so many good things to say about G, as we call him, G Chat. But just he's ready for this opportunity, and the thing that I've enjoyed so much, I had a chance to hire one other defensive coordinator, and that's Clayton White at Western Kentucky. Nobody gave him an opportunity to be defensive coordinator. He got his first opportunity with me at Western Kentucky, and all he did was turn that defense over the course of his time there into one of the best defenses in college football. Wow. And now he's the defensive coordinator at South Carolina, doing great work there as well. G reminds me a lot of Clayton from the perspective of he just takes care of that side of the football. I'm over there bringing ideas that I see and stuff that I know from an offensive standpoint, how to attack certain defenses. But I just feel like he's just managed, not only the coaching staff and the players, but the scheme so well. And then he brings just a different level of energy. And for us to get to where we want to get, those players have to feel us as coaches and respond to our leadership, and they have certainly responded to G's leadership.
Well, we're going to meet Gerald in just a moment. Coach, good luck this weekend. Thanks for being here.
Hey, I appreciate it, Mark.
All right, there he is, head coach Mike Sanford. Here the Buffaloes have got the Cal Golden Bears 12 noon on Saturday. Again, we'll hit the air on the network at 10 o'clock. We're at the Post Chicken and Beer in downtown Boulder. Back more with our assistant coach segment, Gerald Chapman, next. This is Colorado Football from Learfield. Hey, Buffs fans, if you're looking for a place to cheer on the Buffaloes when they're on the road, join Buff Nation to the official CU Watch Party locations in Colorado. That being the Schoolhouse in Arvada, the Blake Street Tavern in Denver, right by Coors Field. Back on Buffs Prime Time. We're at the Post Chicken and Beer in downtown Boulder. We continue ahead of the game with Cal this weekend. The Buffs and the Cal Golden Bears at noon. Gary and I are going to hit the air at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. We'll be out at Franklin Field, beginning at 10 o'clock for the first hour and 15 minutes or so. Come on out and say hi, and we'll get you ready for the Buffs and the Bears on Saturday. Joining us now, the defensive line coach and the defensive coordinator now for the Buffaloes, Gerald Chapman. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm good. Good. Appreciate you guys having me.
A little bit of a whirlwind for you, too, I would think, the last couple of weeks, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. What? Tell me about the conversation when Mike calls you in and said, hey, Gerald, I'd like you to be the defensive coordinator.
Well, everything happened pretty fast there.
Sure did.
But I immediately, I accepted it. I accepted the challenge, and I think we had about 30 minutes before I had to accept that challenge and then go and address the team and address the defense. I coach the D-line as if I'm leading the entire group and the entire defense. I always talk to the D-line about, why I coach, and that's to maximize their potential. So, that's the same thing for the entire defense. So I just use that same philosophy and tapped into the philosophy I use as a coach to coach my position group. I always talk to the D-line about being relentless, tough, and disciplined. And, that's the same. Those are the traits that I think you have to play good defense. And I use that same philosophy with the defense now. Obviously, taking on this leadership role, not just with the players but also with the coaching staff to make sure that we're on the same page, that we can maximize the players that we have so that they can be sound and we can put them in good positions to be successful. So, I immediately accepted the challenge and got to work.
Give us your background so folks know where you come from. I mean, where are you from originally?
Yeah.
Big family, where you play, those kind of things.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
I played at Wisconsin Oshkosh, a small school in Wisconsin, and that's where I started my coaching. My family's kind of all over, kind of just how it is sometimes with coaches.
Yep.
Just like my kids, one of my daughters is born in North Carolina, one is born in Tennessee, one is born in Louisiana, right? And I got a son on the way. He'll be born here. But
oh wow,
yeah.
How soon?
Next month.
Next month.
Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I went, 3 girls and then got the boy fourth and inches, right? Fourth and inches. So, yeah.
What?
So,
Were you just going to keep trying until you got one, or how was that going to work out?
I wanted to go 3 and out. I
Okay.
wanted to go 3 and out, but that's all right. We went for it on 4th down and we got it done. So.
Now, if you would have been 0 for 4, would the wife have pressured and said, "Hey, let's try for 5"?
We would have been done. We would have been
Okay,
off
all
the
right,
field.
all
The game's over.
All right.
Game's over. So, but I'm originally from Milwaukee, and I got my coaching career started at Wisconsin Oshkosh, where I played, and then just went through the process from there. Went to Ball State as a GA. Was there for 2 years with that staff. Got a chance to work with the defensive staff there. And then from there, I went to Butler University, and I was there for a year at Butler University, right up the road. Then I was at Texas A&M for a year as a GA, and I went Texas A&M to Elon University in North Carolina, and was at Elon, and then went to Tennessee State. Was at Tennessee State for 2 years. Then I went to I was with the Cincinnati Bengals. Was at LSU last year, and so just been rolling. But it's been great opportunities. Just starting at a lower level and coaching. It humbles you. Where I go from coaching at Wisconsin Oshkosh to going to Texas A&M. At Wisconsin Oshkosh, I was bringing the bags out myself and setting everything up.
Right.
At Texas A&M, there were 10 guys waiting on me to tell them, hey, what equipment I needed. So. Just being able to have a different experience, I think it just broadens, your knowledge of the game and just the operational piece of everything. So.
If you're not a football fan, you're listening to this or watching it, you're thinking, well, Gerald obviously couldn't keep a job. Every year he would. That's the way this business is, right?
Yeah.
The nomadic aspect of being a young coach and building. But the value of it is the fact you see 100 different ways to do things, don't you?
Yes, sir.
And you got to find yourself in through that.
Yeah, I think, I've been blessed to move actually for good reasons. I think rather that be take on more responsibility. When I was at Texas A&M, where they give you, as a GA, you can get caught up into. I'm glad Texas A&M wasn't my first GA job because you go there, they give you 4 pair of shoes, they give you all kind of gear, and it's. You got all kind of food to eat and that type of thing, and you can get caught up into that. You can get caught up into wanting to be big time or, hey, I'm in the SEC. And so I left there and took the job at Elon, and people were, hey, you're crazy for leaving Texas A&M. Miles Garrett was there, right, and different players I got to be around. But, I left to take on that responsibility. Like, for me, career-wise, it's always been about, seek the responsibility and gain the experience versus, hey, I want to be a head coach. We all have aspirations as coaches, but you have to really go through the process. And so for me, it's just been, I've been focusing on gaining the knowledge and gaining what I need so that when the opportunity comes, I can be ready.
Yeah. You're still a young guy. I mean, mid-30s right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
yep.
So you're still a young guy. What do you think you've learned about yourself, though, with all these different stops, all these different staffs you've been in? What have you learned about yourself as a coach?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that, you have to do things your way. You have to be authentic. I think, I'm going to take, little things from every stop and apply it to the situation that I'm in. So, being here is if I was in this situation at a different school, I may be doing things completely different. And I think you have to really understand people, and that doesn't change. I mean, I think I think my biggest challenge I would say it's not the players here. I think it's the biggest challenge for me was to get the staff, because we're all going through things, and so the defensive staff is just getting us on the same page. As we go through the transitions, there's different things that we're thinking about, coaches are thinking about. So just considering that, and then trying to take a mature approach and take a patient approach with how I handle each coach and how I empower them as well. Because when you do that, then the players, they'll feel that when we come together. And I think that they have. I think that they can feel that that we're on the same page, and that we have vetted everything out. There's no hesitation. And just like I tell the players, hey, like, if we make a mistake, it's okay. right? Like we may make a mistake as a coach, and they're going to make mistakes as players, and that's going to happen in the game, right? But we want to form this thing where if anyone makes a mistake, there's so many other people. We're all on the same page. We got one heartbeat where we're going to clean each other up. And that's how our defense is going to be as well. When one guy makes a mistake, there's going to be 3 other guys, right? Another guy that's going to come in and help clean up that mistake.
What would you like a Gerald Chapman, as you establish yourself as a defensive coordinator, what do you want a Gerald Chapman defense to be?
Well, I want it to be nasty, physical, tough. I want the mentality and the traits of what you see when you see that defense. When you come to practice, and even our whole team right now, if you come to practice and you see our team and the energy and the enthusiasm, I think more so than the energy, the enthusiasm, meaning that it's not fake energy, right? Because like we all wake up sometime and we just don't feel, we just not feeling the day.
Right.
And we had to sometimes psych ourselves into, I need to have energy, but enthusiasm, right? And I told the defense, we have to be excited about winning. We have to focus on winning plays. When a winning play happens, right, like it's natural for it. We don't have to think about celebrating because we're used to the winning plays happening. That's what's happening to this team. And but I want the defense to be nasty, violent, and then I want us to be sound. Yeah. I want us to be sound in everything we do, and I want us to be confident in everything that we do.
Yeah. We were talking with Mike about energy. You've got to play defense with energy, don't you? There's no other way to do it, is there?
There's no other way to do it. I mean, and in a sense of urgency, I think that's what brings that energy, right? That's what, when a defense plays, when you see us play, that's got to be a hit that the whole crowd is like, oh,
yeah,
right? There's like that has to happen when you're playing defense. We should hear the defense out there playing.
Right.
Not talking, not yelling, not screaming, but you should hear football pads, right? You should see collisions, right? You should see balls in the air being tipped off. And those are the things that you're going to see.
Yeah. Give us a quick thought about this offense you're going to see from Callan on Saturday.
Yeah, I think they're sound. They do some things well. They have some skilled guys that can go. The quarterback is I'm a little bit all over the place with this, but they have some good skilled players. The quarterback, is a pocket quarterback, and he has experience, and he's going to do a great job with the operation of the offense. The offensive line, they're going to work together. They do what they do. They are who they are. We got to do a good job, of stopping the run, and we'll do that, by being sound. And our guys being confident in what they're doing. And then we got to do a great job in the pass game, and we're going to do that by keeping things simple. And that's kind of what I'll say on that right now.
Well, I'll say this. We broke ground. I think it's the first time in my 35 years of doing this I ever had a football coach that wanted to go 3 and out. So you're the first one ever. So, hey, Gerald, good luck on Saturday.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
All right, there he is, your defensive line coach and defensive coordinator, Gerald Chapman. They've got the Cal Golden Bears on Saturday, 12 noon, 10 o'clock with the pregame. We're at the Post Chicken and Beer. We're coming back, and one of Gerald's players, Chance Main, defensive end, is going to join us after this. This is Colorado Football from Learfield. Back one final time for our players segment here on Buffs Primetime as we come to you from the Post Chicken and Beer in downtown Boulder. Colorado getting ready to take on the Cal Golden Bears at noon on Saturday, family weekend. Going to be a huge crowd on Saturday. Joining us, defensive lineman Chance Main, young man out of Cherryville, Kansas. And was at Independence Community College, Incarnate Word, and now he's playing his final year for the Buffaloes. Welcome.
Welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I've said to every one of these coaches about it being kind of a whirlwind. What was it like from a player's standpoint the last couple of weeks? That's a lot of chaos for you, isn't it?
It is. But we all had our thoughts and stuff how it was going to go.
Sure.
But these guys really didn't give us the opportunity to act out or anything.
Right.
They jumped on us and got us lined up.
Not much time to think about it.
No,
really.
not enough time to have too much fun. So no, they got us lined out real quick.
It's interesting. Every one of you guys I talked to says the same thing. The energy in the last couple of weeks has been outstanding.
Yeah, it's a totally different feeling coming into practice and meetings and being in the building. It kind of felt like everybody was kind of, falling apart there for a little bit. But it's a totally different feeling, and it's hard to really explain that feeling unless you are in the meetings, in the building, and out at practice.
Explain to folks how you got here. So you're from Kansas. You went to Independence, which is in Kansas. Then you up at Incarnate Word and become a Buffalo. How'd that all happen?
It took the long road, that's for sure.
It's kind of a long path, yeah.
Yeah, but I felt like that's all fell in the right place, and that's kind of where I was going to be with it. I didn't know what I wanted to do after I graduated high school. I knew I wanted to play some football, and my dad had played at Independence also, and so I went over there, and they said, well, yeah, sweet, we'll give you some books and tuition and come out here and play for us. So that's what I was going to do, and that's what I did. I took that red shirt that first year, had to figure a lot of things out.
Sure.
I was a little limited on the knowledge of football coming out. So did that and met some great people there at Independence, and then played my second year, and didn't have a lot of time in the recruiting process, and knew some guys at UIW and some great coaches there. So went ahead and saw that opportunity was a good one for me, and jumped on that, and that's where I played for about 2.5 years there with those guys, and we did some good things, and met some more great friends, lifelong friends there. Then last game I had tore my shoulder up pretty good, and I just knew that I was kind of ready to move on, get out of San Antonio, and I always had I wanted to play Power 5, and I wasn't going to give up until that really happened with the transfer portal thing opening up. It gave me that opportunity, and I sat in the portal for a year and I didn't play.
Okay.
Nobody really wanted to take a chance on me, because I'm in a little bit of a liability. My shoulders, messed up and this and that. So, I mean, it's a business, and I understand that. And luckily I reached out to my buddy here, Jamar Montgomery, and he finally sent the coaches the tape. I've been on his rear about it, come on. And I know.
Do an old friend a favor here, man. Come on, right?
Yeah, he really hung me out to dry for a little bit and got me there. So, and then he showed the tape to him, and they bid on it and threw me an offer. And that day I was packing my bags, and
Nice.
I was like, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm going to Colorado." Whoa!
It's been a good experience.
Been great. It was a little bit of a change just from setting out even a year. Playing at my past schools, it's just a little bit faster speed and everything like that. And especially now with these guys taking charge, our practices go a lot faster, but we get a lot more done. No, I love Boulder, and I love being a Bluff.
What can you tell us about Gerald Chapman? You've been coached by him all this season so far.
I have to say good stuff about him?
Sure, yeah.
Oh.
Well, if you want to run, you can say whatever you want, but I'm sure you can.
He is a great guy. He's for his players, and that's something that he's expressed since he's got here. And he doesn't even have to say it. If you're in there, you're going to know that he's for the players. He wants what's best for us. He's going to try to put his players in the best positions to make plays. He's not going to force anything and keep forcing it. And if something needs to be changed for us to make plays and be a better person on the field or off the field, he will do that change. And that's what makes him a great coach and a great guy.
Yeah. When you got coaches like that, or Mike has talked about attending to you guys, that means a lot from a player standpoint.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, it means so much. I mean, it makes you feel wanted. At times in college football, you can have instances that you just don't really feel wanted, or you don't have that love feeling. And these guys express that every day, and they haven't missed a second with it.
You are a great story. I want you to have a great finish this season. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out here.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Chance Main, defensive lineman for the Colorado Buffaloes. Again, they've got the Cal Golden Bears at noon on Saturday. Gary and I are going to hit here at 10 with the pregame show. We'll back out here next week on Buffs Primetime. This is Colorado football from Learfield.